Hi, I'm Sonny from Misfit Wearables, and today I'd like to tell you a few stories about pivots, products, and culture. And so I'd like to start with the story from my most recent company, Algamatrix, where it was really just my friend, Sridhar, who I'd known from the end of high school. We started this business in our apartment. You can see him here in the room, and if you rotate the camera, that's us. That's me there. So that was about 12 years ago, and we had a good time. We had just exited out of a first company, which for the most part was a failure, and we decided to start another company together. Seems silly, but we just couldn't get enough of the entrepreneurial action, so we did it again. And we came up with a way of making blood glucose meters. These are devices used by people with diabetes to test their blood sugars, more accurate with just better math. And so we came up with a prototype because no one believed us, because usually much of this work was done by chemists. And it worked, so we ended up getting financing. Surprisingly, it was from our investors in our first company. They believed in us, and they thought we were a good team. And so they invested in us again. Here we are, early on, this was right after our seed financing. So you have to have your T-shirt party, so we did. And there we are with our first 3 employees. Those were good times. We moved with the money, we were able to move out of an apartment, 1-bedroom apartment, and into a basement. And this basement has actually gotten it has some sentimental value for us now, because we've started 3 companies now out of this basement. I tell you that this is a story of pivots because our first company, we really didn't know the right times to pivot, like when to pivot. Here we pivoted fairly early because it turned out that making blood glucose meters more accurate was actually not a great idea, because blood glucose meters are typically given away for free. And so what we did was, it turns out that it's the test strips which is where you make all your money. So silly us, we decided to make blood glucose meters and strips. So here we are, here's Sridhar making strips by hand with equipment and a clean room that we actually built ourselves. It was mostly him who built it. So with that, we were able to get more financing, move into a slightly nicer office. We were never really into nice offices, and we continue that trend to this day. But anyways, with that device, one of the things that we learned was that making your own strips, making these disposable biosensors, was actually quite difficult to do. So we pivoted again and got other people to make it. So we ended up outsourcing the making of these strips. We went to Asia, found some strips that were not really that good necessarily, but they couldn't get FDA clearance, for example. They were not accurate enough. But with our system, they were able to achieve incredible accuracy. And so we got FDA clearance on that product, our glucose meter, outsourced Asian test strips together in a system that got FDA cleared. With the clearance, we got more financing, moved up to New Hampshire, lovely state, which is where we still are, and shipped our first product in 2006. It seems like an enormous cycle, but really it was, these are medical devices, so it takes time to make these products, chemistry, hardware, manufacturing, not quite an Instagram type of story, but we certainly grew it into a real business that was shipping these products, hopefully making the quality of care for people with diabetes better. So here we are, shipping the product for the first time in 2006. And we went on to make yet another mistake, which we pivoted from. That was trying to develop our own consumer brand. If you're a startup and you're trying to develop a consumer brand, good luck. It's very hard. So we pivoted again and decided to go with a private label route. And what we did was we got other people to market the product for us, and we co-branded. So we had this WaveSense inside, powered by WaveSense thing. WaveSense was the name of the technology that we developed that made glucose testing faster. And so we had a number of these black label, private label partnerships, which was great. And with that, we went to the moon and got some great traction in the market, got lots of volume to get the factory pumping. And with that, demand for the strips for our products went through the roof. We actually went back to Asia, worked with the Korean government and a Korean partner to build one of the largest biosensor factories, manufacturing facilities in the world, capable of over 1 billion biosensors a year. And so, it's funny, we never thought we would really use it to that capacity, but over the last 5-6 years, we've really put it to good use. Now, what we did was we had a good business for a while, making meters, these strips, and together a really accurate system. Twice the accuracy at half the price. That was our tagline for a while, and it worked. But we thought, surely there's got to be more to this life than just making meters and strips for people with diabetes. And so along comes this great company, Apple, coming out with the iPhone, the much anticipated iPhone. And so we thought, oh, surely we could do something here and make a product that would work with an iPhone. And it took a while, took some convincing, and about 9 months of not taking no for an answer from our side. And eventually we were given the rights, we were given access to their MFI program, which was terrific. Amazing people there, good people to work with. And we were one of the first hardware medical devices that was cleared to work with the iPhone. And with that, it feels like the rest is history almost, because with that, it opened the way for a great partnership with Sanofi, which is a large drug company. They're one of the largest makers of insulin in the world. And so they wanted a blood glucose meter product that was innovative. We came along with the Apple thing, and here we are, launching the product with Sanofi, a giant launch. I think more money was spent at this launch than we had spent at the company for the first 4.5 years of our existence. So we had a lot of fun. And so as you can see, over the last 10 years, we've really learned a lot, made a lot of products, invented a bunch of patents. We've got over 60 issued patents now. And, it wasn't without trials. We really learned a lot. We've gotten sued. We've had key employees leave. I mean, you name it. We almost went bankrupt a couple times. You name it. It's happened. It's a stable business now, profitable. Between 50 to 100 million in revenue. So it's like a real business. But we've learned a lot, and I'll summarize some of those lessons in just a bit, because Agamatrix being our second company, what we did was we entered a market. It was crazy. I mean, there were 30 competitors when we started the business, and there were 72 competitors when we entered the market with the first product. And what we did was we really reimagined this space and made a product that was very different, and it worked. We won design awards and whatnot, and ultimately got onto a platform that was incredible. You can buy it. You can still buy it actually at the Apple Store. So that's the second chapter here. The next chapter was when I left about 3 years ago to start a company with Sridhar, my partner in crime, and with John Scully. I had the great fortune of having a chance to meet him, and about 3 years ago. And we had dinner together. We really hit it off. And at first, I just wanted to hear Steve Jobs stories. But after those wore off, we thought we'd start a company together. And so we did. So Misfit Wearables. You may have heard of the Misfit Shine. That was our first product. The impetus behind Misfit Wearables was to make to make products that would be invisible, that would where technology would fade into the background, and they would just be delightful products to use, to wear, and whatnot. And so we came up with Shine. This is our first product. And we originally were working on a different product, which we will still release later, either late this year or early next year. But along the way, we found that this market for fitness trackers was just exploding. So we thought, okay, well, we could definitely participate in this space. So we came up with Shine. It's an app, and it's this little metal disc. You could probably see it here that I'm wearing right now, that you can wear just about anywhere. It's an incredibly elegant product that it's already started to win some design awards. It's the size of a quarter, and it weighs about 2 quarters. And you can literally wear it anywhere. You can wear it on your shirt, on the wrist, like what I'm doing right now, on your pants. You can even wear it on your neck as a necklace. Quite a few of our female customers have really enjoyed that. And really along the way, we were learning, where would people like to wear it? How would people like to wear it? That kind of thing. And so both the IBG Star, the glucose meter that works with the iPhone, the Shine, both reimaginations of existing product categories, products that have been around for decades, but could really use a refresh in terms of design and usability. So we did that, had a great time. And just to close up, I thought I'd just tell you about some lessons that I've learned, and maybe it would be useful for you if you are aspiring to start your own company in the mobile health or the digital health space. But then these lessons about company building and culture are probably applicable to just about anyone, for that matter. But these are our own personal lessons that we've learned building the last 3 companies. But 5 lessons. The first one, reputation. That's all you have, so guard it, because it's that's what got us funding for Argomatrix, and that's kind of what got us going with Misfit as well. It's something that takes a long time to build, and you can lose it very, very quickly. And at the end of the day, when you reflect on what you've done, I think you're going to be more proud of how you did things, not just what you accomplished. And we wanted to build companies that our kids would be proud of us for. That's something that we found to be very important. This is the Silicon Valley crowd, so I don't need to tell people about this, but being lean, being lean isn't about being cheap, okay? It's about relentlessly getting user feedback, making sure that what you build is what people actually want and not what you think is cool to build, typical tech kind of approach to doing things, or doing things that you think is something that you want, but maybe not others would want. So just being lean. If you haven't read The Lean Startup, mandatory reading. That's something that we've found to be incredibly powerful and important in terms of a business and a business building approach. Being lean, right? It's about getting user feedback. It's about knowing when to pivot. Not too early, not too late. Just and a lot of that is about judgment and being wise. It's about maximizing the number of possible pivots that you can do. So being lean is about making pivots and experimentation as inexpensive as possible so that you can pivot. Just because you have 2 months of burn, 2 years of burn left doesn't mean you've, but if you're not lean, it could be, it's a 2 very long years of a downward, going down the hill. It's almost better that you'd learn lessons faster rather than slower. Okay, so that's about being lean. I think you all know about that. The other is thinking about the user first. Again, this is if you're looking, even whether you're in a consumer or in a clinical space, whatever it is, there's going to be users of your product or services at some point in time. And so things like design matters. It took us a while to figure this out at my last company, but the color of the meter mattered. How big the zipper was for the case. All of those things really mattered. And so the design approach that we come up with was, to start with, you have to be a user. You have to be using your products. You probably shouldn't be making products that you wouldn't be using yourself in some way, or strongly recommending to someone else to use. Watching users, right? It's not about asking people for what they want. That's your job as the product maker and the entrepreneur. Rapidly prototyping and reflecting on the user experience. Using the prototypes yourself, watching other people use it. These are very important principles in product design, and it starts with you being a user. At Argomatrix, we used our entire design team. We used blood glucose meters and strips for months on, and we still use them. It's been 10 years, and so many of us didn't have diabetes, but through the use of these products, we really learned quite a bit of empathy for the user. Another important lesson: standing up for what you believe. Over the years, we had always been asked to trust the experts. You got to hire experts, get the consultants in, and nothing wrong with that. Expertise really has its place, but that's it. It has its place. And at the end of the day, guess who's responsible for the decisions? You're going to take advice from experts. You're going to get data from your team, but you're the one who's going to be making the decisions at the end of the day, making the call. And so if the experts could be wrong, they're fine. They still get their fees. But you're going to be the one stuck with whatever the consequences are. So be fearless in following or ignoring expert advice. But at the end of the day, you're responsible for your decisions. And probably the last and most important lesson that I've learned over the last 3 startups, this one and last one being in digital health, and the one before that being in search technology, is just being obsessive about culture. At Misfit, we hire and fire based on values first. For my first company, we hired based on IQ. We had brain teasers and whatnot, and we had a lot of really smart people and a lot of social problems. What do you know? And then for my last company, we had a blend of both. We ended up getting a lot of experienced people. Experience is great, but I think what you really should look for is wisdom. And wisdom isn't always correlated with experience. It often is. But just because someone has 20 years of experience doesn't mean they've learned over the course of the 20 years. We encounter people with 20 years of experience who didn't have 20 years of experience, but had 1 year of experience 20 times, which is worse. And so at Misfit, for us, we've boiled it down to 3 values. You'll boil it down to 3 things that you value. For us, it's about being thoughtful, thinking through things, listening to the person who's right, not the person who's loud. Okay, that's really powerful. The second is being a misfit. That means embracing unconventionality, breaking the rules, even if it's hard to do so, but not breaking the rules just because. We're never rebels without a cause. So breaking the rules only for good reason. Now, I'm not talking about breaking the law now. That's different, okay? The last thing, and it's probably the most important thing for us, is being a servant leader. A servant leader is, for us, what that means is a leader is someone who serves their team, okay? Doesn't have their team serve them. In a typical company, what you'll have is the engineers, the designers, the operations people serving their team leads, and their team leads serving their CEO, who serves the board of directors, who are self-serving. And somewhere along the line, the users are there. But for us at Misfit, we very carefully picked our investor base to be ones who would be willing to help the company. As the CEO, I view my role as serving the team leads serving the employees and their team members, and ultimately the team members serving the users. Because at the end of the day, if you're not serving the user, who are you serving, right? So for us, that's incredibly important. Those are the 5 lessons that I've learned over the last 3 startups over the course of 14, 15 years. Hopefully they're useful to you. If you ever have any questions, you can tweet to me at Sonny Vu, or you just drop me a note at sonny@misfitwearables.com. Thanks.